All right, I'm here at SALT Conference with good and longtime friend of SALT, Kenny Jang. Thank you, sir.
It's always like a surprise, a fun. There's so much creative energy whenever I'm with you.
Oh, I love it when you come because you call out all the beautiful things that we've done and you help us become better. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. That's something I really do genuinely appreciate about you, that you love us enough to say, hey, I've got some things I think we can, and we've tried doing that. We've tried to implement some of that. And so I appreciate you for being here.
I will say, the 10-year mark has just been amazing. And it's just one of those things where I don't remember year one. Do you remember year one?
I do very well, unfortunately.
It's like time is a blur. But I will say the 10th year, you should have been here if you haven't been here. It was just beautiful. It's been so beautiful this week.
We've been talking with some of the voices here and some of the speakers and leaders about this idea as we're celebrating 10 years.
Yeah.
We're looking back and sort of appreciating all that God's done. But I think it's a call to look ahead. I think it's a call to look ahead and say, what does the next 10 years look like for the church? And so I just want to ask you, as you sort of think about church creativity and production, technology, communications, all these things, what are you really excited about on the frontier of the church?
Absolutely. Well, I used to be a church online pastor back in the day. And one of those things that we struggle with on a daily basis is, I like to say, our dreams were always bigger than the technology that was available, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have all these newfangled things that these young'uns have, right? It's like things didn't work, right? I used to say I'm Pastor MacGyver. I had to duct everything today. So the dreams were always larger than technology. We were waiting for technology to catch up with us. We are now at the point where I think that our dreams are not big enough, that technology is finally at the place in so many areas that maybe God has bigger dreams for what we are able to do and supposed to do. And we're just here limited with our small dreams.
What an amazing paradox too. And I do think because technology has rapidly increased so fast because of the pandemic, especially on the online standpoint of online technology and engagement tools and tracking and data and all that. So very, very cool. All right. So on the flip side, what about the frontier of the church? Maybe what, because of that technology, maybe gives you some yellow flags or worries you. And it may not even be about technology, but as you look at the future of the church, what maybe gives you a little bit of like a, hey, maybe we should reevaluate this or refocus on this. What is that?
Yeah, I can anticipate that question, right? So the question I think in my mind is, as a pastor, as a church leader, as a creative, what is our actual charge and duty to actually release the gospel in our communities? And as technology allows to increase efficiency and improve productivity, and there's all these promises that are actually being done. Now that we're here, what do we do with the extra time, the extra energy? And I think with AI,
we fill it, I think.
Well, that's the thing, right? With AI, we say, hey, AI is here to help us flourish our human potential, but it can also amplify the humanity that we have. And so I think that's just one of the risks that we have to be self-aware of. And this is why you need
I feel like
community.
You're saying, there's a challenge of restoring the humanity of who we are and what we're called to, and being surrounded by a group of people that can help support that.
And I think community is much more important than ever before.
Totally,
Both for inspiration, accountability, and just this sense of we need to be able to collectively exalt God. And it's hard to look up by yourself.
Yeah. And I think there's something beautiful that happens in community. Not only do we see this as like the very first picture of creativity in Scripture, that literally the Trinity said, and therefore we created man in our image, right? So like we see that right out of the gate. It's not just biblical, but I think it helps us sharpen our tools better.
Absolutely.
Right? As the proverb says, like iron sharpens iron, like one man sharpens another. And I think that there is incredible power in that. So appreciate that.
I mean, we literally have gone to a point where the tools that we have in front of us kind of has professionalized our work, our vocation. And sometimes we can get lost in that it's become too much of a business in some sense. And we need to recapture the ministry part of it.
Do you think that some of that sort of humanity piece has anything to do with like maybe what you release doesn't have to be perfect or as templated? Like, is there any sort of view that's like, hey, let's break the template. Let's put some things out that aren't perfect.
Absolutely. And the other thing I would say is everything doesn't need to be big. We don't need more mega churches. Right? We need more churches that redeem culture and relationships.
I love it. Thank you very much, Kenny. I appreciate it. Every time you're here, I'm like, this is going to be a good year. It's going to be a good week. So I love it.
Thanks for having me.